Hey folks, Russ Bailey here. It's time for another BrushPile Fishing, the video podcast. We've got some great guests in store. Steve Jefferson, Alan Reed's going to join us from the Indiana Slab Masters. We're going to talk about their trail, their veterans tournament, and a little bit more. So you stay tuned. We'll be right back with BrushPile Fishing. Welcome back to the BrushPile Fishing Podcast. Guys, how are we doing today?
Good. How are you today, Russ?
Good. And as you can tell, we're all dressed the same. Again, we are at Holmes Bend Marina here at Green River Lake. We're doing our media camp. We had some group photos today. Guys, we just got off the water, and I know everyone's catching a lot of fish. Got to sort through the smaller ones, But
yes, sir.
Lake turned over. It's a little bit tougher, but still, everybody's having a good time, I think.
Yep. It's been tough, but we're having a good time.
So, guys, what we would like to do on BrushPile Fishing, we talk about national tournament trails, fishing patterns, clubs. So today we want to kind of spotlight a club that you guys belong to, the Indiana Slab Masters. Can you tell us about how long it's been around?
I don't know exactly, but probably like 15 years. I can remember we were at the Crappie USA Championship down on Pickwick Lake in Alabama a long time ago.
That's been a while.
And I remember sitting at a table with a lot of the founding members of the club, and they were discussing starting this club, and it's been going strong ever since. And it's got some really great anglers in it.
I'll tell you what, you guys got some good teams in there. Like you say, that not only compete at for the club, but they fish a lot of the national trails like you guys do and do pretty well at it.
Yep. Yeah, it turns out it's been a great training grounds for the national trails, I think. A lot of the guys have had a lot of success.
Well, and I know you guys, and I'm not sure when this podcast will air, but you guys have your club championship coming up at Salamone?
Salamone, Missinwall, next weekend.
And you was telling me yesterday that you guys actually run a 2-day tournament on this. 1 day on Salamone, 1 day on Missinwall.
Yep.
So you going to win this?
Absolutely.
All right.
That's the goal every time,
all right? Okay. So how many tournaments do you guys have a year?
Well, the Indiana Slab Masters runs 5 or 6 tournaments a year with their classic, year-end classic, fished around throughout the state of Indiana. So,
how many teams you normally have at a tournament?
They run in the neighborhood of 30, 35 teams pretty much every weekend or every tournament. So, yeah, they have a real good attendance.
Now, do you have an entry fee per tournament, and then some's put back for a classic? How do they run that?
Well, you have a membership fee, and then each tournament has an entry fee. And, yes, they save some money back for the year-end classic.
Okay. And then if someone – and folks, here's the thing. I've talked about, if you want to get into tournament fishing, a lot of times these clubs are the way to do it because you're not sure what's going on. You don't want to jump right into the national trail. And one of the things that I found from running the Buckeye is you get the same guys fishing the same tournaments, all year. You get to be friends with them. Guys open up, tell you a little bit about what they're doing if you're struggling, and it makes a big difference. It really does.
On that local club level, you have minimal expense versus larger expenses traveling further distances and stuff on the national level. So it is a great way for a father-son or some beginners to get started. And as you said, Russ, just get in there and mix it up with those guys. There's a lot of camaraderie, a lot of friendships built, and those guys will share that knowledge with you, and you will become a better fisherman.
I agree.
And learn a lot about catching crappies.
So I'm going to switch gears here in a minute, but before we do, if someone's interested in getting more information, where do they find info?
So you can go to the Indiana Slab Masters website at indianaslabmasters.com.
Okay.
Also on Facebook, the officers are very responsible on Facebook. So if you shoot them a message through Messenger, somebody will get back
They're
with you
going to
right
get
away.
back with you.
Yep.
So before we switch gears, I want to ask you guys individually. There's a lot of different ways to fish for crappie. What's your favorite technique?
My favorite technique? So this year, my partner and I, we've really focused on single pole, chasing down these big fish in open water. And it's a whole new challenge in itself.
we've got a show that's going to come up here. We taped back in December on Monroe in Indiana. And I'll tell you, it was with Tom Hankins. But one of the things that I wanted Tom to explain was, you know, and I'll tell you guys, when I use my live scope, I like it for standing timber, or I like to see, there's fish in that brush pile. And then I kind of do my own thing. I make sure the bait's getting down where it needs to be. But I just, I don't keep my head glued to it. So I wanted Tom to explain the difference between me and a serious tournament fisherman, how you chase these fish down. And a couple things stood out that I didn't realize. He told me that him and Ron in a whole day may only drop in 15 times.
Yep.
They're chasing a big fish, and if there's not one that they're going to weigh, they don't even try for it. The other thing is I didn't realize just how much work it is. It may take you 20 minutes to get that one fish you want to hit.
Yep.
If he hits, it's work.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes you'll chase these fish 100 to 150 yards before you finally get them to bite. So,
yep. And like I say, sometimes you chase them that and they still won't.
Yep, absolutely. And that's frustrating.
Yeah, I know. You learn a lot from it too.
Right.
You do.
Yep.
Steve, what's your favorite pattern?
As I get a little older and everything, I like to spider rig. I do like spider rigging, or sometimes I call it spider scoping, because if you're in an area with a lot of brush piles, you can really get that boat positioned well. You can see where that brush pile is in that water column, adjust those baits to where they're just above it or right between it along the sides or something, and get that bait right there in that target zone. So I like to do that. There's times when every technique is applicable and is a good process. But I do enjoy spider rigging.
And like you say, there's another good thing about the live scope is you'll know your bait's in the strike zone because you're going to see it on there.
Yeah, and you see that brush pile. So man, that looks like it's got a lot of little fish in it, some bluegills and stuff. And you just move on to the next one and say, hey, I see some quality crappie in there that I want to try and catch. So you know whether or not you have fish there that are tournament quality fish that you're interested in catching.
All right. So there's their favorite techniques. So now, before we end this, I saved the best for last because this is something I think you guys know I'm involved with a lot is the veterans. I'm a veteran myself, and I think especially veterans that have had problems, anything that we can do to try to help them, we need to do. We just finished our third annual, Travis Mills Foundation tournament. Huge success there, and it's because of the people that donate, and it's the people that fish that. You guys now have a veteran tournament going.
Yes, I was invited to Southern Illinois. A fisherman friend of mine that I met through crappie fishing invited my partner and I last year to come over and be boat captains and take veterans fishing. And I really enjoyed their event. It was very, very impressive how they did everything. And I said, geez, I want to do this for our local veterans in the Wabash, Indiana area. So I kind of took it upon myself and spearheaded an effort to have a tournament. So we had our first tournament August the 20th this year. We had 25 boat captains, 25 veterans. They got to go out and have a nice day of fishing.
Nice.
It wasn't a tournament format. It was just an event. We had the local community. I just can't say enough about our local Wabash community. We had a lot of contributions and donations. It didn't cost anybody anything. We had a great meal for them. Every veteran, every boat captain got some really nice door prizes. Some of that was paid for with local contributions. A lot of the folks in the crappie industry really jumped in there and did great things for us. Sent me a lot of door prizes. The list would be too long to mention, but I can't thank those folks enough. Our veterans have went out there and made a lot of sacrifices for our freedoms and our right to live in America the way we do. We can't really repay them. But it's phenomenal that BrushPile Fishing, the AmVets in Southern Illinois, the different folks that are having these events in support of these veterans, giving them the opportunity to get out and fish and enjoy a day and some camaraderie with the fishermen and fellow veterans. It's just great. You just walk away out of there that day on cloud nine because you're on top of the world. It feels so good.
Everybody. And that's the thing, you know, Steve, we talked about, it doesn't matter. This is the true tournaments. It doesn't matter where you place because, like Travis Mills said, you're all winners. And the thing, and again, I don't like bringing this up. We all know about the cheating scandal in the walleye tournament. And, of course, that makes national news because it's dirty laundry. But stuff like your event, the Illinois event, the Travis Mills thing, they don't want to hear about stuff like that, you know, on the national level. And, you know, all three of our places, and they won some pretty good money in our Travis Mills. Every one of them, all 3 years now. We don't ask them to do this. They have turned their money back into the Federation. So it just, you know, it's stuff like that. We just got to keep it going and keep plugging away. So I appreciate what you guys do too, man.
Thank you.
So anything else, fellas?
Yeah.
I know we're all bugging to get back out on the water.
Absolutely. Just if you're interested in the Indiana Slab Masters, don't be afraid to reach out. It's a great group of guys, and we will help you get set up and get started tournament fishing if that's something you're interested in.
Great club. I know several of the members, good people in general. So check them out, folks. And before we take off, again, if you do not have the BrushPile app for your phone, make sure you get it. It's completely free. Great features on the phone, including your log, your daily log, the guide section, all of the BrushPile shows right at your fingertip. Check it out. It's completely free. Hope you enjoy it. Folks, I hope you enjoyed today's podcast. Stay tuned because we'll be back with another one at BrushPile Fishing.